Moment Truth here, and it's time for more Otaku Evolution. Be sure to like, subscribe, and contribute to my Patreon. If you recall, I checked out the 90s Babel the Second anime back in 2017, and boy was it a thing. A thing that existed. It sure did exist. Boy, of all the things that are things, that sure was one. So why not check out 13 more episodes of that sort of thing? I hate myself enough. Like I explained in that previous video, Babel the Second is originally the creation of Mitsutaro Yokoyama. It was a manga adapted into a TV series in 1973, that OVA I reviewed, and today's selection, a 13-episode series, Babel the Second, Beyond Infinity, from 2001. I've never read the manga or watched the original TV series, but based on what I've seen between the OVA and this, I can't, for the life of me, understand why this keeps getting new adaptations, because despite its potential, it always ends up painfully mediocre. Babel II Beyond Infinity revolves around a schoolboy named Koichi Kamiya, a kid with some strange ESP-like senses who was invited to join a secret society called Hades. It turns out that Hades only wants him because they want to get rid of him before his powers can awaken and threaten their plans for world domination. Koichi is actually to inherit the powers and will of the powerful being named Babel I, who once lived in the Tower of Babel. Babel I was an alien who crashed onto Earth. He planned to use advanced technology to help the people of Earth, but there was a mishap and his plan was thwarted. So he decided he would bequeath his technology to a future inheritor, which Koichi is. But the leader of Hades, Yomi, who also pursued Babel's inheritance, is determined to gain its power for himself.
Relax, and I will extract the location of the Tower of Babel directly from your mind. What? But this can't be!
Do not touch me! Get back, you devil!
Oh, what have you become? Who are you turning into now?
Koichi, or Babel II, has some assistance in his fight against the Hades group. Besides a UN operative named Reika Saiki, who helps to gather intelligence for him and helps him out of scrapes, Koichi has special guardians. A shape-shifting Black Panther, a giant-winged bird monster, and a giant robot. And together they fight characters like Leon, one of Yomi's high-ranking lieutenants with pyrokinetic abilities and ambitions of his own, and Ferris, an enigmatic and scheming follower of Yomi's with a secret agenda. So all in all, that sounds pretty cool, right? You have a secret society, psychic power battles, the Tower of Babel, a badass lady operative, and awesome special guardians. You would expect this to be a non-stop thrill ride, right? Surely with all these elements of potential to be tapped, it would be at least a satisfactory watch, right? Well...
Nope.
It's not that this show is particularly terrible, and the elements of quality are sure present, like the interesting premise and potential character dynamics, but it all just ends up being totally unfulfilled. It's not beyond infinity, it's not even reaching high numbers. Everything in this series is just so plain. There's really nothing more than what you see. There's no hidden meaning, no thematic weight, no emotional gravitas. It's a very simple, stupid show about superpowered beings firing shockwaves at each other, and not even very creatively. But it didn't need to be this way. All the pieces were there. If only the writer, Takehiko Masuda, known for practically nothing, had put those pieces together in any significant manner. But nope. 13 episodes of plain Jane supernatural schlock. What can I even say about this show? We established Koichi as having a complicated home life. He was taken in and raised by a man who owed Hades money, and his stepsister seems to have a thing for him, ew. His faux father is champing at the bit to get him to move out until Koichi's badly hurt in a fight with Hades, and he changes his mind. Koichi's stepfather decides that should he return home from his quest to stop Yomi, he will be welcomed back as a true son. And then we don't see either the stepfather or stepsister again until the end of the series. Same with Koichi's school friend and his rival. If only they had made better use of these characters, maybe had them captured by Hades and held hostage, or if Koichi's father infiltrated a Hades base to assist him, or give him important information at a significant moment. Or maybe Hades offers Koichi's rival a chance to get back at him by artificially transforming him into a psychic, albeit an unstable one that loses his life when he switches allegiances and decides to protect Koichi instead of fighting him. I'm not saying I was expecting any of those ideas, but I was expecting something.
So I could get into Hades. I practiced all day and all night. But you couldn't play fair. You had to cheat by using your strange powers. No, Shut up! You had to cheat me! Cheater!
Reika Psyche is another untapped element. Here we have this highly trained agent for the UN who assists Koichi in his battles with Hades, but she's usually not doing much. They give her a tragic backstory where she loses her partner in a war zone, but do they do anything with that? No. One flashback and then nothing. Maybe Hades revives the guy with evil power and forces her to fight him. Maybe she has difficulty on a mission when reminded of him by Hades trying to get under her skin. Thankfully, while her and Koichi do have chemistry as partners in the war against Yomi, they don't try to romantically pair them. She doesn't even try to make a pass at him or use her feminine wiles to pull Koichi out of a funk. She's no Masato Katsuragi. But unfortunately, she's no Masato with significance or character depth either. She's a big ol' 0.
0.0.
And then there's our antagonists. Yomi is your basic bitch evil overlord type, which is fine. Not every main antagonist needs to have dozens of layers and a tragic reason to be wicked. Yomi's just an asshole, that's it. At least they gave Leon a good reason to hate humanity given his abuse by his father. But there's a lacking dynamic between the villains. Leon obviously covets Yomi's leadership of Hades, while Ferris's loyalties change with the win. They just don't do enough with these elements. We get little bits and pieces of Leon's motivations after Yomi's first defeat, but he doesn't really get any resolution to his ambitions or character arc. And Ferris should have been more duplicitous, with the viewer wondering if she had her own designs on leadership instead of being Yomi's errand girl in the long run. Everybody becomes so boring in the final act, you just wait around to see how they're defeated without caring so much about them as characters.
Incredible power. The kind of power that can destroy the world. Balduke!
Wait, Leon! That power is too dangerous. You've brought back to life a power that even Yomi himself sealed away.
I am nothing like Yomi. His psychic abilities were weak and worthless.
The problem I have with the unambiguous evil that Yomi and his lackeys represent is that they introduced an element of ambiguity in Enki, a follower of Yomi's who enlists Koichi's help in guarding him and the secret he knows from Leon's ambitions. We see in Enki a calmer and more respectable minion, with a philosophy that made me wonder at Hades' true plans for a second. But then afterwards it's just right back to unambiguous evil from Yomi, which does this character a disservice.
What you believe to be right is different from what I believe to be right. All battles are a clash between right and right, a difference of ideals. Light is not righteousness. Darkness does not always mean there is evil. If you look up into the night sky, you will see stars. But what surrounds the stars is darkness.
The elements that Beyond Infinity waste the most are Babel II's Special Guardians. The Panther can turn into anything and is barely around. The Bird Demon can scream sonic waves, and at least there's a two-parter about that one, but afterwards it rarely reappears. But the worst thing is that it wastes the giant robot, Poseidon. Babel has a giant robot, and in this 13-episode TV series he's in maybe 3 fights. Why is there not a giant robot fight in every episode after his introduction? Are you kidding me? I know this isn't a giant robot show per se, but if you introduce such a thing into your program, you damn well better use it or come up with a very good excuse as to why not. I know I'd be abusing the use of that thing every minute of every day if I were Koichi. I just don't know what to do with this series. I don't normally have a problem with fun, clever, but straightforward anime where what you see is what you get. This is why I like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. There's not a whole lot of thematic complexity to JoJo, but what it lacks in that, it compensates for in emotional weight and creativity. Babel the Second Beyond Infinity, on the other hand, is just a paint-by-number schlock fest with nothing to say and no real creativity. And frankly, it didn't need to be that way. Just look at what a good use of Yokoyama's characters gives us. Giant Robo, which is an OVA masterpiece. Imagine Giant Robo if it were just an ordinary story with giant robots. It would still be more creative than Beyond Infinity. So yeah, that's Babel the Second Beyond Infinity. A complete waste of potential. I knew there was a reason I was putting off watching this one. It must have been my instincts telling me not to bother. Maybe next time I'll listen to them. Next time on Otaku Evolution, we revisit the world of Trigun. Until then, see ya!
For on the same day that this new hope shines for mankind, events are quietly unfolding in the Tower of Babel that will lead to the final battle between the Big Fire Society and the experts of justice of the IPO.